Hello everybody, Steven here with Cardboard Coalition, and today we figured we would bring you a how to play for 7 Wonders Duel. This is from Repos Productions. It's for 2 players, only 2 players, hence the duel. It's for ages 10 and up, and it takes about 30 minutes. And as I've been recently debating or discussing with some of my friends, the box lies, that's what they say. I think sometimes it works. The time on boxes are a generalization. Anyways, let's go ahead and jump into how to play 7 Wonders Duel. So as usual, I'm going to run through the setup, then I'll go through how to play the game. So for the setup, first thing that we want to do is we want to go ahead and take the board. They just call this the board, and they set it in between. I call it the tracking board. You set it in between both players. We're going to say that player 1 is going to be over here. Player 2 is going to be right here. And once again, it's kind of smashed up because cameras and all that, and I'm still trying to figure out angles. But let's say player 1, player 2. So this is in between them. A lot of times I will put the board on this end like this and have someone sitting here, someone sitting here across the table from each other. I guess you could argue someone sitting here and someone sitting there, but go ahead and you put that board down in between each other. Between the 2 players. The next thing you do is you take the conflict pawn, and it looks like a little shield and 2 swords, and you set it right in the middle of there, right in the middle of the conflict tracker, because that's the conflict tracker. All right, next, what we do is we take these tokens, they call them military tokens, and we set them down, and it shows you where to put them. There's an outline. So what that is saying is -5 coins, right? So once it gets there, and then there's a -2. There's 2 -2s, 2 -5s. You put one on each side, as we have done there. The next thing you do is you shuffle the progression tokens and randomly face them up on the board. So what are the progression tokens? And I think I left them in the box. Oh no, I can grab some. So here are the progression tokens. And this is for progressing through the sciences. Oop, I'm dropping them. As you can see, you have a handful of them. They're different. You go ahead and take 5 of them and you put them along the top up there. So you have 5 different progression tokens set up there. The next thing that you do is you go ahead and you give each player 7 coins. So you have 3s, you have denominations of 3, 1, and 6. So each player gets 7 coins. The book shows it 3, 3, and 1, so that's how we do it. We're going to be spending coins. Now the next thing we got to do is figure out which wonders each player is going to get. And for the first time playing here, let me grab it, the instructions actually give you a setup. So they give you some that you can put out for the first playthrough. I don't know if those are the easiest ones to understand or what have you, but what it tells you to do in the game is you shuffle this deck. This is the Wonders deck, right? You shuffle it up, and there's a little pyramid down there. It stands for Wonders. You shuffle it up. There's only 4 here. And then you would place 4 of them out. So let's say these 4 get placed out. First player shuffles and puts them out, 4 of them out. Second player takes one. First player takes one. Second player takes one. First player takes one. And then you go through this, right? And that's what gets you the setup for the two sets of wonders. That gives you your wonders for both groups. Sorry, seeing the cord in the video kind of threw me off. I'm like, what is that? All right, so once that's done, then you go ahead and you take care of what's called the age decks, and you have 3 ages. This is the first age. Here's the second age. Here's the third age. And the third age gets some guild cards thrown in there. And these are just extra special cards, basically. So what it tells you when you're setting up is you take this deck, you get rid of 3 cards. You shuffle it, you get rid of 3 cards, right? And then you have your deck set up. So I've already done that with this first age. So you just watch me do it with the second age. Now the third age is a little different. So you go ahead and you do the same thing. You take the third age and you take away 1, 2, 3 cards. You shuffle it, take away 3 cards. But then you also go ahead and you take, I'll set those down here for now. You go ahead and take 3 of the guild cards. You shuffle this one up. You take 3 of the guild cards. you throw it in the third age, and then you give them all a quick shuffle. Doesn't really matter that the colors are different. You can tell the guilds because they're a darker purple, because you're just going to place them out. All right. So now we have our third age set up and ready to go. All right. So from there, what we do is we set up the actual age, and we get these reference cards that show us how to do it. You also have on the back of the player guide, the rules book. What do they call this one? Just the rules. So the rules book, you have the layout for each age. So there's age 1, and it shows you that white means face up, and it gives you this key down here, and the colored back means face down. So now we have the age set up. So you can either use the reference card, you can use the back of the book, doesn't really matter. And you go ahead and set up the age. Now that this is done, everything's ready to play. Now, before we walk through how to actually play it, and I'm not going to get into the nuances of what each symbol means, because the game does come with this handy bigger sheet, and it's a reference sheet. And I found that it's easier when teaching the game to teach just the basics. And then when you need specific things, like when I play through with friends and they're like, oh, what does that token do? So they got a science, and we'll talk about how to do that. What does that token do? Before they pick a token, I hand them this, and I let them look over it, look at the tokens, the progression tokens up there, and decide which one they want to pick. It also gives you symbols over here to understand the cards a little more. The cards tend to be pretty self-explanatory until you really get into the third age, where you might have to look at this really quick. I find myself looking at this one a lot to try to remember, but I'm not going to go into the nuances of all the small things. We're just going to do an overview, a large overview of how to play the game. So now that the game's all set up, there are 3 ways to win. The first way to win is a military victory. And what that means is you get your, or you get now I can't remember what I called it before, but the war marker, you get it to go all the way over to your opponent's side, right? That instantly ends the game. And let's say player 1, obviously, because they got to player 2's side, player 1 just won a military victory. So that's how you get a military victory. That's one way to win. And as you go through here, you can see there's points. You can get 2 points. There's 5 points once you get up into this area. It's kind of hard to see, but there's little lines that show you. So actually, once you get right there, the opposing player has to get rid of 2 coins, plus you get 5 victory points. Once you get up here, the player has to get rid of 5 coins, and you get 10 victory points. And then once you get all the way here, game's over, you've conquered your opponent. All right, so you get the military victory. Now, this gets pushed back and forth, and I'll explain how that works here in a second. But this marker can get pushed back and forth as you go through. Once you've unlocked where a player has to get rid of coins, they don't get coins back. But if they push you back, you will lose victory points. So you'll go from 5 to 10 and so on and so forth. So that's victory. Now the next thing that you can do is you can get a science victory. And I look at it as your civilization becomes the most technologically advanced. So you have sciences. And how you do that is by getting these cards, and every time you match this symbol right here, this little science symbol, we'll get it a little closer. Every time you match, you get 2 of them, you get a pair, you get to pick one of those tokens across the top, one of those progress tokens, which gives you extra things to do in the game, gives you bonuses. Like I said, a lot of them explain things. Anything with the olive branch around it means straight victory points that you count at the end. So that's obviously 7 victory points. As you see, there's the olive branch's victory points. I don't know the history behind olive branch for the victory point. Maybe through victory you get peace. Who knows? Who knows? But to get those, you match up these science symbols, right? You get those science symbols, and you go ahead and every time you get 2, you match them up. So that's the science victory. Oh, sorry, I didn't really explain all the way. Once you get 2 of those symbols, you get this up here. Once you have 6 pairs of symbols, so 6 pairs of symbols, and you see there's some symbols on that one too. Once you get 6 pairs of symbols, you instantly win, game's over, you've won, you've gotten a scientific win, you've become the most advanced civilization, I guess is a way to look at it. So you have the military, get it to the side, science, get 6 pairs, you win. With each pair, you get to get a bonus token, a progression token that gives you extra stuff. Now, the third way to win, and this is the way the games tend to go for me, is we get the third one, which is a straight point counter. And how you get to that point is you get through all the cards in the third age. Once the third age is gone all the way through, then you sit down, and the game actually has, and this one, hopefully it doesn't glare too much, I have it laminated, you have a point thing, and it's a little smeared, I guess, but you add up points, right? And there's your military, your science victory, that just means all together, and you add up points to see who wins. So just to rehash really quick, the 3 ways to win is military, winning the military, science, getting 6 pairs of science cards, and then the third one is at the end of the third age, whoever has the most points. So that's how you win. Now you're saying, how do you play? And now we're getting to the easier part in a sense, or the quickest part, I guess, of the video. So how you play the game is you pick up a card, right? And there are some things to pay attention to on these cards. So let's go ahead and grab this one really quick. If I wanted this card, it would cost me 1 coin. And what would happen is I would pay, let's say player 2 pays that coin. Well, hold on. Woo! I do this all the time, and this is how I confuse people. So how the mechanic goes is player 1 goes, player 2 goes, and you keep going back and forth until the end of the game. Now, what you do is you pick up a card, right? You just pick up a card. You choose one of the cards and you pick it up. Now, there's 3 things that you can do with that card, and you have this guide, and we'll kind of go over them really quick. So you have 3 things. You can build a building. These cards are considered buildings. They're named and they're referenced by the color up here in the top, but these are considered buildings. So player 2 picks up this card, right? And they decide either they're going to pay 1 coin to build it, which means they put it down here into their city. They can also discard this card. So, because you have to pick up a card no matter what, and then you decide what you can do with it. Or they can discard the card, they can burn it, which you put in a discard pile. I just set them up there, which gets you 2 coins, and you'll get an additional coin for any gold buildings. If they had this gold building in their city, they would get 3 coins instead of 2 coins. All right. And then the third thing that you can do with this card, so you can pay the price, if there is any price. Some of these cards have no price, as you can see. You pay the price to build it. It puts it in your city, which gives you that material. This one is papyrus. You burn the card. That's the other thing you can do. If you burn the card, then you get 2 coins plus any gold buildings. So you depend on how many gold cards you have. And then the third thing you can do after you pick up the card is you can build one of your wonders. And let's look at one of these wonder cards really quick. So to build the wonder, you have to have 1 papyrus, you have to have 3 stone, and that's it, 1 papyrus and 3 stone. And what it's going to give you, its reward is 9 victory points. So as you see, this is what it takes to build, this is the reward. So the third thing you can do, you pick up this card. Let's say player 2 already has a papyrus. They have 3 stone down here. They can pick up this card, they flip it this way, and put it under here to build their wonder. And that just marks that they built their wonder. And why do you want to build your wonder? Well, you get the point or the bonuses here, like coins and victory points and getting an extra turn, things like that. Also, there can only be 7 wonders on the board. So once the 7th wonder is built, that extra wonder, no matter what side has it, they can't build that wonder. So you do want to try to build your wonders too. So just to recap, and we'll get this up here. What a player does on their turn is they would choose a card, they pick up that card, and they decide, are they going to construct the building, which means taking this card and putting it into their city, doing that by paying the cost. If there is a cost, if there's no cost, they get to do it for free, right? The other thing they can do is they can get rid of the card, right? They can discard it. They get 2 coins, instantly 2 coins. And one more coin for every gold that they have in their city, every yellow card they have in their city. The third thing they can do is they can use that card to go ahead and put underneath one of their wonders and build their wonders, as long as they have the materials to build the wonder. Now, if you hadn't caught onto it, how you build your material is by having cards in your play area in your city. And see these, how they show there's nothing to pay, right? So right now, player 2 is producing on their turn 1 papyrus, 1 stone, and 1 wood. Every turn, and you don't get rid of the cards, you just have them, all right? So they're producing that. And that helps because some things you want to buy, I know it's hard to see, but this one has a papyrus. This one has clay to buy, right? So that's how you get your materials to build your wonders, to buy your cards, or to not buy your cards, but to build your city. For an example, we have this one, and the cost is 1 stone. You would look into your city, you go, oh, I have 1 stone, that goes into my city. Simple as that, right? Very easy kind of idea. You have to pick up a card, and then you have to either build the card, burn the card for coins, or build the wonder. Now, there's one more thing that I'll put in right now. You can buy materials. So let's go ahead and throw these back down. I know I'm moving everything around, but I'm kind of trying to show you guys. Let's go ahead and throw all these back down. Here, it doesn't matter what order. So let's say that, okay, they already have, player 2 already has papyrus. On their next go around, player 1 goes, player 2 goes back, and they want this because there's 3 victory points right there. And there's also a symbol, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But they don't have stone yet. And they don't want player 1 to get stone and buy this. What they can do is they can buy stone. And to buy stone, you have to, or any material, that could be glass, papyrus, there's glass, right? Papyrus, it can be wood, it can be stone, it can be clay. You can buy any of that. To buy one material costs 2 coins, plus how many of that material your opponent has. So if opponent 1 has no materials and they want to buy this, they would only have to pay 2 coin, right? Now, if player 1 happens to have a stone in their city, they're producing stone, for player 2 to get this card, because they have no stone, so they can't just buy it outright, what they would have to do is pay 2 tokens, right? 2 coins, plus 1 coin for every stone that the player 1 has, the opposite player has. So in this case, this would cost 3 coins. 2 initial coins, and then 1 coin because this player has a stone in there. And that's kind of some of the buying parts of building your city. So you can take these cards, right? Because you have to pick a card, and then you can, if you want to build the city, if you have the material already in your city, you can build it. You can buy the material and build it. And then, or like I said, you can build your wonders, or you can burn the card for coins, but you always have to pick up a card. Remember, you always have to pick up a card. Now, you could choose which one based on what your abilities are, but you always have to pick up a card. And then you choose what to do from there. All right, next, what I want to talk about is, we talked about it, the sciences. How to win the sciences, you match these symbols. So you would have them in your city. So if I have in this one in my city, I might want to look for another, what's it called, a quill and well, right? A quill and well. I might want to look for another one of those. The other way is military track, right? That's the other win. And I'm going to go ahead and steal from, or look at the blue age, or the second age, to show you guys this. So to move yourself on the military track, you get cards that have the military symbol, right? And you would put them in your city too. You would pay. This symbol means if you already have that symbol, and I'll explain that in a minute, you get that for free. But we'll talk about that here in a second. So to move the military track, you get these military cards because they give you 1 military, right? You can also sometimes get military from building your wonders as rewards. See, there's military over there, 2 military and 1. And that's how you move the military around. Now, one last thing that I want to tell to you guys about before we end this little how to play is the one more symbol that's on the card. that's worth talking about. So see how it has that little water drop, teardrop, whatever you want to call it. So it's up in that upper right corner. So let's say player 2 has this in their city. They've built that building. Later on, and this is, I'll just show you guys, this is for age 2, but later on, let's say this card pops up. And what this card is saying is you get 5 victory points, right? You can pay 3 stone to build this, right? To build this card. Or if you already have a water drop. So there's already a drop of water there. Player 2 can build this for free because they already have that water drop. So let me show you guys those symbols really quick, right? So if this is already in the city, they can build that for free. They can just add it for free. So that's what that symbol is. And that is basically how you play through 7 Wonders Duel. There is more nuance to it. And like I said, that's where this nice little player guide helps out so you can understand some of the small things. But when you think through it, it's really this. Either you're trying to get a scientific win, you're trying to get a military win, or you're trying to get a point win by accumulating the most points by the end of the 3rd age, right? And how that goes is literally just picking up a card, choosing either to pay the cost, this one has 0 cost, to build it, which means you put it in your city, which gives you materials. You burn it for 2 coins, plus any yellow cards or gold cards that you have in your city, right? Or you use it, if you have the materials, you use it to build an age, right? You would put it under that as long as you have enough stone and papyrus, or you have the ability to buy enough stone and papyrus. And that is literally how you play the game. It is a very easy teach. It's very easy to get the concept down, and it seems to be a really fun game. So hopefully I didn't miss anything. One thing now I think about, I would say I am still kind of shady on, even though I've read through it and played it a few times now, how the science track works. I play it once someone picks, right? Once someone picks one of those progress tokens because they've matched a pair, I go ahead and put out another progress token. I don't know if that's what you're supposed to do, but I go ahead and put it out, right? It might be a little more difficult if you don't put out a new progress token, just because for someone to win science, they have to have 6 matching pair. Doesn't necessarily mean they need the progress token. I put them out. So once a progress token goes away, I put a new one out. The only thing I have in the directions is it says once you put out the 5, you put the rest in the box. So take it as you will. You could either play once the progress token's gone, that's it. No one gets any replacements there. Or you could play it as I tend to play it. Once a progress token goes away, then you go ahead and put in another progress token. But that is how you play. Hopefully that was clear and understandable. But that is how you play 7 Wonders Duel by Repos Productions. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm Steven with Cardboard Coalition. See you later, everybody. Bye.